Hello BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my January 2020 TBR. Say it with me everybody, it's TBR time! Yay! I am so excited about my TBR. I am so excited about a brand new reading year, about a brand new reading month, about a brand new reading decade. So super exciting. And yeah, I have a lot of books to share with you guys, so I don't want to drag this out too much. If you're new to my channel, my TBR is always based on challenges that I am doing. Most of them are personal. They're not generally group challenges. Yeah, I've got a lot of them here to talk about. And I did change up how I do my TBR every month. Now, it's not really something that, you know, affects anybody else. It's just the way that I do things. But I really like the way that I did it this month. And I think I might continue doing it this way for the foreseeable future, unless something changes. And what I used to do is that when the Romance Readers Reading Group of Goodreads would post their monthly challenge, that's when I would start my TBR. I would look at that list and I would look at, you know, any of the ARC books or the books from NetGalley that I had to read that month, and try and slot them into that and then pick other books if I couldn't find a book for that prompt or whatever it was. And then I would go through all the rest of my challenges that I have and go from there. What I did this month instead is I picked all the books that I needed for all the different challenges, the Stacking the Series challenge and my, you know, the other personal challenges that I'm doing, the Harlequin Bookshop challenge and, oh my gosh, my TBR jar, my TBR Series jar. I picked all of those books, and then when I had that list, then I went and grabbed the list that was posted for the Romance Readers Reading Group for January, and then using my all the books that I had picked already, slotted stuff in there. And if it didn't happen this month, but going forward, if I came across a spot that I couldn't find a book for, then I would jump outside and look at my TBR, the rest of my TBR, and try and figure it out. Anyway, I know how I'm doing this. I figured out how I want to try and do this, and I am doubling up on a lot of things, which is great because I have a lot of books on this list. So yeah, let's jump in and get started. So we're going to start off with, of course, with the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads, and they do this challenge every month. This is going to be my 5th year doing this challenge. I am hosting this challenge in March, and I cannot wait. I'm super excited. But yeah, so they give you 10 different prompts or 10 different kind of questions and several prompts within each. So starting off with number 1, Happy Birthday January. Read a book published in January or read a book with a red on the cover in honor of January's birthstone, the garnet. So this is different the way they're doing it. Last year and the year before, and I think even the year before that, it was like J is for January. Read a book that starts with the letter J or an author's first or last name starts with J. So I like that they've kind of changed this up a bit. And because I read ARCs the month that they are published, I will always have a book not only published in that month, but in that year. So it will truly be a brand new release. So for this one, I've got Country Strong by Linda Leal Miller. This is coming out, I think, like around January 21st. So yeah, super excited about that one. I'm, again, not going to talk a lot about what all these books are about because I have a lot of them to get through here, you guys. Next up, for this year, we have a flower of the month. Last year it was birds. The year before that it was, I think, Olympian gods and goddesses. So I love that they keep picking different ones. And for this month it's carnation. And it says the carnation symbolizes hope, rebirth, and gratitude. Read a book with a hopeful or uplifting theme, or a book where someone is starting a new life or remaking themselves in some way, or a book by a favorite author, one that you're grateful for. So I picked a favorite author, and I'll be reading Still the One by Jill Shalvis. This is the next book in the Animal Magnetism series. Cannot wait for that one. Featured author challenge. So every month they pick a different author and they encourage you to read that author. But if you don't want to read that author, or you don't have a book by that author, or whatever the reason is, they give you other prompts that you can use. So the other prompts, because this month's author is Tessa Bailey, and not that I have any, you know, anything against the author, but there's just nothing that is jumping out at me that I want to read by her. So the other ones are, you may also read a book set in California or New York, or by an author who is from California or New York. You can also read any book shelved as contemporary romance or chick lit, or a book that includes characters involved in the hospitality industry. And I picked a book that was labeled as contemporary, which would be a lot of the books that I have on this list. So I could really be picking anything. But I decided to go with Pride and Prejudice and Other Flavors by Sonlia Dev. I am very, very much looking forward to this book. This is, I think, the only book I actually have that's a print book to read this month. I think I have about a half a dozen of the books on this list. Like for my full list, my full TBR. Only about 6 of them are audio. The rest are all ebooks. I have a ton of ebooks to read this month, and I love that because I love my ebooks. I find it easier to read than print books, but yes, I do have this one print book to read this month. And again, I am looking forward to it. Number 4, January the 1st is, of course, New Year's Day. Start the new year off right by reading a book by a new to you author or the first book in a new to you series. So I'm starting off a new series, and I mentioned this in my anticipated reads for January, that the newest book in this series is being published in January, but I'm going back and reading the first, and it's Act Like It by Lucy Parker. This is the first book in the London Celebrity series. Very, very excited. This is not only a new to me series, it's also a new to me author. Super exciting. Cannot wait to read that one. Number 5 is January the 6th, Cuddle Up Day. Read a book that would be perfect to cuddle up with in front of a fire on a snowy afternoon, or one that would be a perfect beach read if you're in the southern hemisphere or another warm climate. So I am in the northern hemisphere. I am in Canada, of course. So I kind of looked through everything that I had on my list, and I found this one. I'm like, this is kind of one of those dreaming of warm weather, like the perfect book to read in the wintertime, and that is Mermaid Inn by Jenny Holiday. Very much looking forward to this one. It looks like a great kind of beachy read as well. So, and I love the fact that it's coming out in January, so this one should be a lot of fun. January the 8th. Excuse me, I love this one. Male Watchers Day. M-A-L-E. Male. Read a book with a hot guy on the cover, and I will be reading Reckless in Texas by Kari Dell. This is the first book, I believe, in the Texas Rodeo series. This one should be really good. Looks like it's going to be a good book. Number 7, January the 14th is Dress Up Your Pet Day. My cats heard that and decided to go hide. They do not want to be dressed up. And I wouldn't do that anyway. It's too difficult with cats. Dogs would be much easier to do that too. Read a book with an animal in the story or on the cover, and it says shifters count. So if you read more paranormal, you can read a book with a shifter in it. But I'll be reading Walk Me Home by Liza, Kendall, and this one has an adorable, it looks like a golden retriever on the cover. It looks delightful. Cannot wait to read this one. Number 8, January the 23rd is Measure Your Feet Day. Very weird. Read a book with feet or hands or paws visible on the cover. And I went with paws, so 2 books in a row with dogs on the cover. And this is Cold Nose, Warm Heart by Mara Wells. This one looks delightful. It just looks so cute. The publisher sent me this one, asking for my honest review for it. So very much looking forward to this one. It looks delightful. Next up, January the 26th is Australia Day. Read a book set in Australia or with an Australian author or character. Or you can read a book with green and or gold on the cover, which I believe is the Australian flag. Am I correct in that? And I'll be reading A Bride for the Maverick Millionaire by Marion Lennox. This book is not only set in Australia, it is also by an Australian author. So 2 birds, 1 stone. Very much looking forward to it. I am a fan of this author. I really like her work, and I'm looking forward to getting to this one. Next up, Reader's Choice. Read any book of your choosing. Pretty self-explanatory. I just picked a book at random, and that is Witness Protection Widow by Debra Webb. I do love Debra Webb. This is a Harlequin intrigue novel. Should be super fantastic. Cannot wait. So, now, all the books that I just talked about, I am going to mention again and how they fit into the other challenges. So like I said, all of these got doubled up on. So I'm just going to mention them very quickly and flash a picture back up here, you guys. And yeah. So the first other challenge that I'm doing is my Stacking the Series challenge. I have picked 8 tiers this year in 2020, which equals out to 36 books, which is 3 books a month. Works out perfectly. So the 3 that I got for this month were, first one was Maybe I Do by Nicole McLaughlin. This is the first book in the Whiskey and Wedding series. So I'm going back. I have read book 3, and I think I need to read books 1 and 2. So I am going to be reading this one. Looking forward to it. One that I've already mentioned, Act Like It by Lucy Parker, book 1 in the London Celebrity series. This is for my 5 tier. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one. And Reckless in Texas by Kari Dell, again, part of the Texas Rodeo series. This one has also already been mentioned, and again, I believe it's book number 1. and I need to read, I think it's the first 4 or 5 books in this series. So I think I jumped in at book 7 or something like that. So I'm going back now and reading the original books, or the first however many books that were published. So that's my stacking the series. The next one was my 2020 Series TBR Jar. Now, before I share with you guys the books that I picked, I am going to insert a clip of a video that I took a couple weeks ago of me physically pulling books from the TBR jar. So let me show you that now. Hi guys, Sarah from the past is here. So I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to fit this into the TBR video. Pretty sure I'm going to fit it in right before I actually say what books I picked or what books got picked, because this is my TBR jar, my TBR series jar, as I like to say. And for this challenge this year in 2020, I have written down 60 different series that I'm currently working my way through. Now, I didn't write down book titles, just series titles, because then that way it leaves me open throughout the year to be able to pick another book in that series if I need to before I get to the one in the jar, if that makes any kind of sense. So I am here right now to pre-pick these, because when I did a challenge kind of sort of similar to this in 2019, I think it was, the Audible challenge, the Audible, at the time it was the Romance Package challenge, I would pick them on camera, stop everything, open my laptop, find the books, and then come back. And I'll be honest, guys, it was a bit of a pain. So instead, I'm pre-picking these, and then I can do my TBR, and then I can film that video continuous without having to stop. So let's go ahead and pick these. So I need 5 of them. I'm going with 5 a month, so that's exciting. So we'll give it a really good shake up here, and we'll just pour 5 out into my hand. That seems simple, doesn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have our 5, you guys. They're there. So let's see what series we're going to be reading in January. Yay! I think this is so much fun. I've so been looking forward to this. I am filming this. If you guys are watching my Vlogmas videos or my vlogs in December, you will probably know what day this got filmed. This is actually the 19th of December. So I am pre-filming this. I am super stoked. So yeah, let's not drop these on the ground. Let's open them up and see what we have inside. So, uh-oh. Don't tell me these stick, because I'm going to be upset. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, so they do not tear off nicely. That's good to know. Whoops. See, now I'm ripping the paper. This might not have been a smart idea, you guys. We're going to go with it, though. We're going to go with it. So, the first series that we have is the Hearts of Hunter Ridge series. A lot of these series, guys, no joke, I probably do not remember all that well. So, Hearts of Hunter Ridge, I didn't even write down who the author is, so I don't know. We will look into it. You guys will see it next, as I then continue on my TBR and show you guys what books I picked. This one tore off a little bit easier. All right, let's open this one up. Well, I think that Hearts of Hunter Ridge, for some reason, I'm thinking it might be a Harlequin, like an imprint series, but I'm not absolutely certain. We have, oh, the Hannah Swenson series. Yay! By Joanne Fluke. Oh, that'll be fun. Yay, a cozy mystery in January. Yay! Super excited. See, I love this. Isn't this fun? It's like Christmas. Next up, I'm trying to find the end of the of the washi tape on these. It's not that easy, you guys. Tear that off. Then we've got here Sapphire Mountain Cowboys. This one is a Harlequin imprint. It is a series from the Western Romance line, which used to be the American Romance line. So yay. I don't remember if this is by various authors. I know one of the authors that wrote this was Kathy McDavid. So yeah, very exciting. A good cowboy romance in January. Can't go wrong with that either, guys. And the thing is, with these, I have to read the next book in series. These are not series that I read the first book and the 5th book and blah, blah, blah. No, these are all the ones that I'm reading, like, in numerical order as they're kind of supposed to be read, in a way. Next up, we have, tear that off. I'm getting better at this now as I'm opening them, you guys. I'm going to be an old pro by, like, the summertime. Come on. Yay! Another cozy mystery. The Cat Who. Yay! The Cat Who. By Lillian Jackson Braun, the great Lillian Jackson Braun. I love this series so, so much. I think it's utterly delightful. It's about a man and his two cats, and they solve mysteries. How can you go wrong with that? It's going to be great. And the last one, the last little piece of paper we have here. Where's the end of this? Oh, there it is. I don't have my glasses on, so I'm glad I wrote the things on those papers in big letters so I could read them. Come on. It's like trying to find the end of a roll of Scotch tape when you're like taping Christmas presents or birthday presents. Come on. Can you guys hear that in the background? I don't know if you can. Goran is snoring beside me. Lazy cat, lazy cat. Okay. So there we go. Finally got into it. Yay. We have Jill Shalvis's The Animal Magnetism series. I think I only have like 2 of these left. So yay. Oh, a great bunch of books, I'm sure, for the month of January. So we shall recap The Animal Magnetism series by Jill Shalvis, The Cat Who series by Lillian Jackson Braun, Sapphire Mountain Cowboys by, I think, various authors. I believe it's a Harlequin imprint. The Hannah Swenson series, of course, by Joanne Fluke, and Hearts of Hunter Ridge that I cannot remember, but I'm sure it's a Harlequin imprint. Anyway, guys, that's it. Let's jump back into the TBR. So there are all the series that I got. Let's see what books got picked for them. And literally, I just picked the next book in series, so I'm super excited. All these look fantastic. So first of all, I don't know if these are in the same order that I pulled them out of the jar, because I can't remember, but this is the order that I wrote them down in. So we've got Claiming the Single Mom's Heart by Glynna Kaye. This is the next book in the Hearts of Hunter's Ridge series, which is a love-inspired series. And I think I said that in that little clip that I thought that's what this was, and I believe I was correct. Next up, a book that I've already mentioned, Still the One by Jill Shalvis, the next book in the Animal Magnetism series. Very much looking forward to this one. This one, I was so thrilled to get it. The Cat Who Plays Brahms by Lillian Jackson Braun, the next book in the Cat Who mystery series. I believe this is the 3rd or 4th book. So this is a longer series. There's 20-something books. It's a great cozy mystery series, but I'm excited to be reading the next book in it. Next up, Made for the Rancher by Rebecca Winters. This is the next book in the Sapphire Mountain Cowboys series, a Harlequin Western romance, or at the time it may still have been the American romance line. I don't know. The cover will be here, but it is a Harlequin imprint, and I cannot wait to read it. The first book was really cute. And last but not least, another cozy mystery, you guys. We have Peach Cobbler Murder by Joanne Fluke, the next book in the the next book in the Hannah Swenson series. Joanna is the author. So yeah, so there are all my picks for my TBR jar, as I showed you guys in the little clip, but here it is. So I'll be picking so many of these every month to get through some series that I'm currently reading, and I love it, and I'm so excited. Next up, my 20 backlist in 2020. This is actually an Instagram challenge, and I saw it come up earlier in December, and I thought, how much fun is that you pick 20 books that you have had already on your TBR, and you vow to read them in 2020. So what I did is, I think all but 4 months, I will be picking 2 books a month. The 4 months that I'm only going to be picking 1 book is January. February, because even though we have 29 days this year in February, it's still a bit of a shorter month. October, when I do my travels down to, for my trip to Rhinebeck, and I believe I also picked December, because December tends to be a bit busier month with the holidays. So this month I only have 1, and again, it's a book that I already mentioned, and that is Pride and Prejudice and Other Flavors by Sonlia Dev. This is a standalone novel. I've already just talked about it. I'm very excited about getting to it. So yeah, one of my caveats for that 20 in 2020 challenge is that I picked books that I physically purchased, like I purchased a physical copy of in 2019, but didn't read. So all these books are going to be the ones that I read in physical format. So that's exciting. So my next challenge, not really challenge, but these are all the review books that I have to read in January, and there are a lot of them, and that's another reason why I only picked 1 book for the 20 in 2020 challenge. So I'm just going to kind of go through these relatively quickly. The first one is The Little Bookshop on the Seine, I think that's how it's pronounced, by Rebecca Raisin. Colton, Baby Conspiracy by Marie Ferrarella. a romantic suspense novel, I think, from Harlequin. Colton's Lethal Reunion by Tara Taylor Quinn. I'm very much looking forward to this one. I adore this author. Walk Me Home, that I've already mentioned, by Liza Kendall. We have Rich Rugged Rancher by Josh Wood. I believe this is the next book in the Texas Cattlemen's Club, The Inheritance series. I read the first book last month, and I'm very much looking forward to this one. We have Her Homecoming Wish by Jo McNally, a Harlequin special edition book. Country Strong by Linda Leal Miller, that I've already talked about in this video. For the Twins' Sake by Melissa Sennett. This is another special edition novel coming out in January. Witness Protection Widow by Debra Webb, that again I've already mentioned. This was my Reader's Choice book. Mermaid Inn by Jenny Holiday, again another one that I've already talked about. The Love We Keep by Toni Blake. This is, I believe, the next book in the Something Island, maybe, series. I read the second book in October. Because, yeah, I was listening to it when I was in the hospital. I read the Christmas book in October, but this is the next in the series. Very excited about it. Cold Nose, Warm Heart by Mara Wells, which I've already also talked about for the book with paws on the cover. And the last one for my review books is The Look-alike by Erica Spindler. This is a thriller novel, looks really good. And this author sounds familiar to me, but I don't know if it's just because I've seen her books or because I've read her books. I looked on Goodreads and I don't show that I've read anything by her, but I'm wondering if I read it prior to Goodreads or prior to BookTube, so I'm not too sure, but very excited about this one. And the last books that I want to talk about are, of course, my Harlequin Bookshop books. So as I mentioned in my 2020 challenges video, that I have a ridiculous amount of books on the Bookshop app, which is the app that Harlequin Publications uses. If you buy ebooks off of their website, you can read them on this Bookshop app, essentially. And I have a bunch of them that I need to get through, so I literally did a number randomizer and picked 4 books, and then one of the books was chosen by you guys when I did my Harlequin anticipated reads for January. So the book that was picked by you guys is another one that I'm going to read. So I'm going to read 4 from my backlist and 1 new release. So that's going to happen every single month. And I'm, of course, going to let you guys know what the book that was picked was. So if you guys want to read along with me in January, you absolutely can. So the 4 books first from the backlist are Wild West Fortune by Allison Lee. This one looks really good. We have Saving Mariana by Lori Robinson. I was beyond thrilled when this one came up in the randomizer. I have wanted to read this book ever since I heard about it. I became a big fan of this author a couple years ago when I read her book Diary of a War Bride, which was absolutely fantastic. And I was looking at her backlist to see what else she had. And this book, the cover intrigued me. So this is a Harlequin historical, and it takes place during the time of the Salem witch trials. I'm like, yes, please. I need to read this. So super stoked, cannot wait. It's going to be, I really hope it's going to be good. This author has not disappointed me yet, so I'm very, very hopeful. Next we have Tempted in the City by Jo Lee, a Harlequin Blaze novel. Looks really good. A Bride for the Maverick Millionaire by Marianne Lennox. This is one that I've already mentioned. It just so happens that the randomizer book that I picked was an Australian author, and it worked out very, very well for the category, or for that prompt. And last but not least, the book that you guys picked for me was Her Secret Alaskan Family by Belle Calhoun. This is a love-inspired book about a woman who is going home to the small town that she was actually abducted from when she was a baby, and her family owns a chocolate factory or a chocolate empire, and it sounds really good. It's set in Alaska. I cannot wait to read it. So that's all that I have, you guys. The only books that I am not mentioning in this video are, of course, my Back to My Childhood books. I can talk. I'm rereading my way through the Babysitter's Club and the original Nancy Drew series and the Nancy Drew Case Files series. So I will not be mentioning those because I do not know which ones I will get to over the course of the month. But of course, I will mention them in my weekly wrap-ups and my Friday reads. So the last thing I want to share with you guys, and this is something I talked about briefly in my most recent Friday reads, was that every year at the holidays, I add squares to my blanket, my sock yarn blanket. And I always say every December, I need to add more squares to that blanket during the year, because then I end up only adding like 25 squares a year. and the blanket could be potentially between 800 plus squares. It's going to take me years to finish it in doing that. So I was trying to think of a way to add more squares to the blanket throughout the year. And then I thought to myself, how about for every book that I read in 2020, I add a square to the blanket? And let's see how that goes. Let's see if I can do it. So that was my original plan. My goal on Goodreads for 2020 is 300 books. So I could potentially add 300 squares to the blanket. But what I actually decided to do was I went to the dollar store and I bought envelopes. Just $1 for 75 plain white boring envelopes like this. And what I did was on the outside of every envelope is I wrote down the title of every book that I just talked about here. So I think there's something like, there's over 20 books, I'm sure. So I wrote down the title of each book and I put a mini skein or ball or whatever it is inside each of these. So as you can see, there's the book title written on the front. So I've got an entire bag of these. So, excuse me, my game plan is as I finish each of, sorry, I've got the hiccups. As I finish each of these books that I've already talked about, when I do my weekly reviews and I talk about whatever books I finished that week, I will then go in here and I will pull out the however many books, 5, 6, 7 minis, and I'll open them up here on camera at the end. Like I won't do it for like I talk about the book and then I open it. It'll all be at the end. So those of you who don't want to see this don't have to. And I'll add them to the blanket. And then when I do my Friday reads, I can show you guys how they look in the blanket in case you're curious. But I just thought, let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can keep up with it. And yeah, because I think this will be a really fun idea. So yeah, so there they all are. Just a little something extra for 2020 to get some more squares put into my blanket. Anyway, guys, that is now all that I have for this video. Please let me know in the comments below. Are you excited about new books in January? Are you excited about a brand new TBR, a brand new year, a new reading year? Or have you read any of these books that I've mentioned in this video? And if you have, please let me know your thoughts on them in the comment section below. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.